After my first video on this egg, where I plotted every KN44 wallby and then tried to compare it to each circle that was on the blueprint, I did some more research on the KN44 itself, and I found a video by Spartan Arena where his attachments changed on his KN44 in a zombie game, and in the image he was showing this gobble gum, and it's the one that turns your weapon into a pack-a-punch gun. And on the front cover of it is a KN44. I'll bring up an image of it so you can see. So it's right here. And when you count down to where it is in the in the gobblegum selection, it is in the 8th place. So in KN44, you could do 4 plus 4, combine it, and that would give you 8, which right in that same place. And the first two letters are E and E, so Easter egg. So I took a lot of interest into this bio because of this reason, and I took every letter, basically in a lot of different arrangements, but first I'm going to talk about how I took the last letter per word, and I ended up with this string right here. And then I just counted how many times it appeared, like for each letter. And then I did some unscrambling, and this can make K node and N node. You have a K, you have an N, you have an O, you have a D, you have an E. Or you could use the other N and not the K. So you can either come up with N node or K node. And I obviously thought this was very important because the gun is the KN44, and we had just found out that the KN represents the nodes with 4D hypercubes. So I then kind of deducted what the leftovers were, and if you do use K node, then it would be 2 N's, 1 R, 2 S's, 1 A. I'll get back to that later. And then if you were to do N node, then it would be KNRSA. So this one doesn't really pop out to me, so I instead went with KNRSA, and it could be rearranged to spell ranks, like an anagram. So using this knowledge, I took the last letter result of this bio, and I used a math transformation using a 4x4 grid to get 16 vertices because there's a 4D hypercube have S16. So these are the plots. So I did 4x4 grid, and to do this, you have to convert each letter into the numerical form in the alphabet, when it appears, and A would be 0. So there are only 11 characters in this string, so you have to use placeholders, which is called padding, and I just used X. You can just think of these as just placeholders, variables, and after converting the matrix to their numerical form, I then rotated it by 90 degrees so that it all kind of, flipped over. This is a very common practice when it comes to ciphers with math transformations. I didn't try any other degrees of transformations, but this is what I did. And so I came up with this, and then I removed the padding. And you can tell, it has the same letters, but they're placed differently. So then I then took, and I'll show you how I did that. I took this string after doing that, and I put it into Cyberchef, which is a very good website for ciphers, um, because you can convert and you can translate things using it. So if I put to binary, this code to binary, then it would give me this string. And then since 4D cubes can be represented by binary like this, I split each one in half so that it would be four numbers for each plot. And then with that, you can in turn plot this given binary coding, and I will show you how I did that. I do not have a software to do it, so I just told ChatGPT to do it, and I don't know what, I think they use, I think this was with a Y, but like the software they use, yeah, and um, it will basically plot it out for us, and will give us a result. We just have to let it load, and then it gives this. And this didn't strike out as much, but I I just feel like I had seen this before, and I tried to compare it to like the runes, and the rune on the very right, you know, it kind of matches a little bit. You have the bottom three and the three, and then the middle, and then you have this and this. And that's from Rev, so it's a little bit late in BO3's life cycle. So then I started to look up like runic alphabet, and there are letters that do match it that are more like combinations, like Y, for example, has the line and then the diagonals. Some other ones have, you know, the OE, which kind of represents the diamond in the middle and the two on the outside, and then the line through it, which could be I, so IOE maybe. And then I didn't know really where to go with this, so I then decided to use different strings. So then I took the first letter of each word in like first appearance, and the first thing I did not do a math transformation on it first. Instead, I immediately put it in into binary through the Cyberchef, and it gave me this, and it is turned. I turned it to make it upright, and I don't know about you all, but this looks just like a crown. And if you remember, in the Rearranging void step symbols, there is a crown. They don't look just alike, but they both have a point top and pointed sides. They are a crown. This is it zoomed in. And what's funny is this is a step that involves the void bow, and during the void bow step, you have to translate this to the Apothicon like language, and the translation is claw, I'm pretty sure. And I don't know where that leads, but funny enough, a KN44 randomly appears in the pit of where you do the void bow, where like the square and like the purple like light shines through. A KN44 appears there, and in that same step, there involves a crown that you can get from the KN44's Gobblegum bio. And I don't think this is a coincidence, because like there are so many possibilities that it could make with the vertices. Also, I'm sorry about my mic. I know it's popping a lot. I need to get a better mic. But um, you know, I was like, this has to be related. It has to. So then I decided to then do a math transformation on it, and that gave me this string right here. Converted it to binary, plugged it in to ChatGPT software to map it out, and it gives something similar to this, but it didn't strike me as anything specific. So because of that, I then hold on, where is my other PowerPoint? Give me 1 minute. Okay. So I was looking into this and tried to match it with something regarding this. This graph was from For Tangerine on Reddit. So credits to him or her for making such a great graph representation of all the plots. And I kept looking at it, and it to me it looks a lot like this right here, but not exactly. So I'm thinking that maybe I have, some kind of similarities with the code, but it wasn't perfect. It can also kind of represent this one, but to show this one mainly the top left. So if you look right here, and then you kind of have like this bented triangle. Not really a triangle because it's not perfectly three sides, but then it ends and then it has a line down. You look right here, you have the same dot, the same dot, the same dot. It goes down, it goes over here, and it goes up and it bends like that triangle, just like it. And you have two far plots. You have one right here and one right here. Now they are not perfect, but they look eerily similar, and I do not think this is a coincidence. There's just no way that just some random letters that converted to binary would just come up with something that looks so similar to these plots. And I started realizing, I was like, these solar systems and their planets are not the KN44 Walleyes. I don't think they are anymore. What I think they are plots from binary code onto a four-dimensional graph using a set string of letters. And I think if we could possibly backtrack it on these, which I don't know if that would be possible, maybe we could kind of backtrack and get to another cipher that then we could decipher using another method, if that makes sense. So given this, I then took my attention towards these solar systems. And another thing that really struck me is if you were to flip like this middle part, it matches this identically. Like this part in the cube, you have the line going diagonal, you have the line going diagonal. This looks like this part of the cube, like almost identically. And so, given that, I then did this one. So since it resembles the top left and right, like it resembled both of them, I tweaked it a bit to make it kind of be its own independent string. And this one is probably the least evidence-based in my opinion. Like this one kind of is a bad plotting, doesn't really match a whole lot, but it does have some attributes to it that do match up with some things, like just mostly the cube, the inner parts of it. That's really about it. I mean, also, it kind of can also match the top left, um, but this one's kind of bad. So, and then if we go to this one, which this one I think is almost perfect. This one right here. You can honestly probably tell from the solar systems which one this looks like, just because of how similar they are. And how I got this was, I went back and I didn't use a math transformation. And what I did is I plugged the A and the N back into the same place before the transformation of this. Well, I did a math transformation and then I plugged in the remaining A and N back into my very original one after the padding. And what I mean by back in the original spot, the A pops up third place, and then the N pops up like fourth to last, and third to last, depending on like which way you're looking at it. So the A and then N. Then I took that and put it in CyberShift, converted to binary, and I got this. And what did I just do with that? Could have sworn I just put it right there. Okay, well, I'm gonna open it again, I guess. So, right here, bottom right, you have this circle. You have this circle. It goes over here, and then you have two above it, and like a curve. You have two above it and a curve. You go to the middle, you have this one right in the middle. And then you go over here, you have this one over here, up here, over here, right here, down. There are some that are not in place, but it is so similar that, I mean, you can just tell. You don't even have to overlay it and you can see the similarities. This line, it's right here, this one far down here, and this up here. So then I was like, okay, let's just keep on going, let's keep on trying new ones, and then I got the NDKSNS. And what I did with this was I only used the main words of the bio, so the show, I ignored all of like the N, like you're into an A. I just took like main words, and then I converted it into binary, and then I plotted it. And I came out with this, and um, dun, dun. And this one is also about on the same as this one. You know, it's kind of off-putting. Like it's not really on track with everything else because it can't really match up with anything that well. However, the top right one has an identical top vertices to this. If you cut off this bottom part and just leave these vertices, that is identical. This goes far more over to the left, this goes far more over to the left. Okay. And then what I did, I then took the remaining letters of NNASR that I did not use after turning it into a K code. And I will state that I did also do it in KNRSA instead of NNASR, but nothing, it didn't match up well, and it kind of looked the same, but just worse. So then, after I did the transformation, I got S and R, and then converted to binary, and I got this. this one, again, not too great, but has 5, and this one on the bottom left has 5. The placements are off, they're like distance, but they have the same amount, and they have the same one that is far away. And I don't have anything that is, like screams out, this is it, this is the answer, but there are so many similarities with this. And the fact that this is a crown, and in the void bow step there is a crown, and there's a KN44 that appears, that just makes me believe even more that there's no way that this is just by chance. There's no way. And if you look right here on this, which is on Skites in its video, who kind of restarted all this hype towards the egg. So please check out his video if you haven't. You probably have if you're watching my video, because I have like only 50 subscribers, but he translated these symbols to Apothicon language. I'm pretty sure he did. I think that's what he said in the video. And since this turned out to be an Apothicon kind of translation with the crown, it makes me believe maybe claw is implemented in one of these. Maybe claw flesh, claw grow, claw something, or crown, maybe crown arise, or crown servant, crown invade. And then it got me thinking, like, maybe all these are representations of all the maps, because there are 6 and there are 6 maps. So then I was thinking, okay, maybe grow means Zetsubo, invade means shadows, rise could be Derizen, flesh, maybe Rev, shadows, unlock, Rev, shadows, servant could also be Rev, but grow definitely is Zetsubo because you grow on there, and invade, I don't know about this, just thinking, probably isn't true, but I feel like the key to this egg has to be the solar systems and the Apothicon words. I don't believe these are just random plots. I think that they are plotted binary code in a 4th dimensional space that have a specific meaning, all these solar systems. And they could represent the 6 maps, they very well could, because there are 6 of them, but I don't know. And another reason why I thought this might be like Derizen is because, you have the 2 KN44 appearances right by each other. That you have the courtyard, and then you go down and where the void bow is. So, given all that, I wanted to go back to the very first one I did and just show the resemblance of this to like runic alphabet. It looks so similar to so many of these, or even Apothicon alphabet. Maybe it could represent one of these. Maybe there is something here. It took me hours to get all these codes and transform them all, so please leave a like. I'm definitely going to keep looking into this. I'm going to question more things. I'm going to look into more stuff related to KN44 on the game, like other gobblegums that have it in its bio, well, like in its image. Like, I really want this to be solved before Jason Blundell himself has to tell us the answer for it, if he ever will, if even he remembers what it is. But just to recap, like in this, what this last paragraph says, like the 2 sentences, like I don't believe they're perfect. You know, I hit roadblocks. I had to switch different methods. Like some of them I used math transformations, other ones I didn't. But I do believe this is 100% a huge lead. There is no way that these are just randomly matching up to these solar systems and the crown from the void bow step. I do not think this is coincidence. If you want, I can see if I could attach this to my video and all the other stuff I use. But basically it. If you all have any ideas, please comment down below and, you know, tell me if you think I'm crazy, if you think I'm schizophrenic, if you think I am onto something, or, you know, all three, whatever. Just let me know your ideas on this. And that's about it. Thank you.